Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a such fate? Reign, my God. False kings of the earth and set themselves and the rulers take counsel together. You don't say. Against the Lord God, the Rastafari, and against his anointed say. Serious thing on that. Come let us break their bands of sunder and cast away their cast from us.
May the 5th, 1936, the Italian troops of Marshal Badoglio entered Addis Ababa, bombing, machine gunning and gassing this country into submission. Goliath had won the first round. Over this countryside for 5 years, he sent out his punitive columns to keep his Philistinian peace. But the revolt went on, against the dizzy background of the Abyssinian mountains, where the people waited in extraordinary confidence for the day when their own monarchy should return and the tyrant's flag should be pulled down. 4 years later, an aircraft unknown to the Abyssinian came over the western horizon. It dropped no bombs. Sheaves of yellow paper fluttered through the upland sunlight down to the plateau. They were stamped with the seal of the Lion of Judah, Haile Selassie I. My beloved people, they read, I rejoice to announce to you that I am once again among you. I have come with the invincible might of Britain. This verse from the Psalms of David is the watchword of our revolt. Ethiopia raises her hands towards God. Drums beat out the signal. Ethiopia raises her hands from tableland to tableland. Messengers, servants of the great chiefs of Ethiopia, who in many provinces had not submitted to the Italians, spread the news also to the villages. And the Ethiopians pulled out the old rifles that had lain in the thatch of their houses when the Italian police passed through. They saddled their horses and mules, harnessed them in the fierce bits of war and hurried to the chieftain's camp. This was the Abyssinian mobilization, the formation of the famous Patriot Army in its rags and its bare feet, which struck such fear into the Italians and crumbled their resistance behind the battle line, where at Keren and on the Juba River, in Asmara and Harar, the British regular war machine was pounding their weary troops. And this is the headquarters of the man who at his emperor's command held up the flag of Ethiopian liberty for 5 years. Ras Ababa Aragai, in 1935 and 1936, chief of the Addis Ababa police. A quiet, astute, gentle-voiced officer, incapable of shouting Duce, Duce in any language. One of the bravest men in the modern world. Ababa Aragai has spent the past 5 years never more than 100 miles from Addis Ababa. With a price on his head, he's been wounded in battle half a dozen times. He's foiled more than one Italian expedition of 15,000 men. And now the promised arms are coming. British rifles with British bands, all sorts, Martinis, Lee Medfords, Lee Enfields, and American rifles, Springfields. It was a chance shipment from America that gave the first armed impetus to the revolt, and captured Italian rifles in their thousands. Few lost lessons in guerrilla warfare from the Ras Ababa Aragai. Don't be foolish, he says, as many of you were in 1935 and 1936. Don't go en masse in front of their machine guns. In 5 years, we've learned a lesson or two in mountain fighting. The night attack, the war of nerves, and of unnerving shrieks in the dark. The war of light hand grenades stolen from the Italians. The attack on the flank, the ambush from the stone sangre. That long hair on your heads is the badge of the Arbenya, the Ethiopian guerrilla fighter. It is the outward sign of your form as irregular soldiers. Now into the lorries, troops, rifles, bayonets, provisions and all. And we'll show the Italians what we mean by Ethiopian independence. The Patriot armies whip up their arms, food and drink. Beer made of Abyssinian barley, called tala, and mead made of Abyssinian honey, called cage. Meanwhile, the Ras gives orders to his staff. The women bring small sacks of millet to cook cakes, and the dried peas called shimbala that are Ethiopia's hardest rations. The women and the children are going to battle with the men. The little boy carries his father's rifle until the moment when father thinks that he can draw a bead on an eye-tie. If father dies, then the rifle belongs to the little boy. Mother and son will give father a good Christian burial on the battlefield. They're stoical, but they're optimistic also. Perhaps, they think, it'll be the Italian who will lie stiff under our independent African stars. And then we'll have another rifle in the family for little brother to carry. This is the Great Seal of the realm. Around, in Amharic letters, are the titles of imperial authority. Haile Selassie I, King of the kings of Ethiopia, Elector of God, the Lion of Judah has conquered. It is the proof that the Emperor, the seed of Solomon and of Sheba, has returned to take up his whole people in his hand. The Emperor Haile Selassie has crossed the great trench of the Blue Nile with 2 regular battalions of Sudanese and Ethiopians, with a cloud of patriots on either flank, with British officers whose daring ranks with that of Lawrence. Without one piece of artillery or one tank, he has defeated and demoralized the 30,000 Italian troops who held the western province of Gojam. He is 100 miles from Addis Ababa, into which the victorious army of General Cunningham has driven. The Emperor has come to feature. He is near Debre Libanos, one of the holy places of central Ethiopia, where the Italians in 1937 machine-gunned to death 400 Ethiopian monks and chucked them into a common grave, where also his cousins, the sons of his principal Ras, Kassa, were executed by the Italians in the same year. His field commander is at his right hand, and on his left is the new British commander of his bodyguard. This is the heart of Christian Ethiopia, that island of Christianity, as the Emperor Menelik expressed it, in a sea of paganism for 1,500 years. And the Emperor, installed upon his throne, is head of the Ethiopian Coptic Church and superintends its ritual. Not greatly like our Christianity, you may say. The priests wear turbans and process under umbrellas with their silver-topped dancing sticks in their hands and their silver musical instruments that tap out the harsh refrain of the Coptic psalms. The Psalms of David, the music and the rhythm of David himself as he danced before the Ark of the Covenant. These are as much a part of the Ethiopian church as is the New Testament. A touch of the modern world. An English wireless operator takes down a message from the British command in Addis Ababa. It's an important message. It means the collapse of the Italian resistance in Ethiopia. It's good news to the head of the British military mission to Abyssinia, who at nearly 60 years of age entered Abyssinia almost single-handed in August 1940, and hunted by the Italians laid all the staff work for the revolt. Meanwhile, Ras Ababa rides at the head of his army to join his emperor. Dessier has fallen. The Duke of Aosta is in flight. We have captured more than 40 boxes of his personal baggage. Italian prestige will never stand up to this shock at the top. And so the road to Addis Ababa is open, except for a demoralized force of Italians in the valley ahead that the Emperor and his commander in the field will have to bypass or drive through. From Addis Ababa comes General Cunningham, brother of the officer commanding the Mediterranean fleet, who by his staggering advance from Kenya to Mogadishu, Mogadishu to Harar, Harar to Addis Ababa, has set up new records in military speed and has shattered armies numerically 3 times as strong as his own. This is the first time that the Emperor and the General have met, and it is the first junction of the forces from the Sudan and from Kenya. At the palace steps, a guard of honor from the Nigerian regiment awaits the Emperor, and General Cunningham is there with the officers of his military administration. That with the fire of the patriots won this war, meet together on the palace steps of Addis Ababa, while 30,000 Abyssinians cram the streets outside, shouting and throwing flowers, kissing the ground, waving the Abyssinian flag. To them, the Emperor says, "Be Christian and kind-hearted to our defeated enemy, the Italian, and do not treat him as he treated you." So, in 5 years, the whirligig of time, often slow in motion, has brought its full revenge. Yet was revenge the word? The Italians are safe. No one molests them. All the world disregards them. Somehow or other, the Ethiopians push the horrible memory of the 9,000 massacred in February 1937 to the back of their minds. The whirligig of time has brought its justice rather than its revenge. The so-called barbarians, the cruel people of Italian legend, has taught the so-called civilized fascist a lesson in forbearance, decency and dignity. At his palace, the emperor receives the patriot troops of Ras Ababa Araga, who boast before him in the customary cockwork fukara of the Ethiopian fighting men. Each and all want to tell the emperor of his glorious deeds. How many Italian officers he killed, how many machine guns he took single-handed, how he is his emperor's devoted servant, to be sent to fight the battles of Ethiopia wherever his emperor desires. Then there is the quiet, serious voice of Ababa Aragai. Your Majesty, I never hoped to see the sun of your face again in Ethiopia. I never dreamed that I would once more be happy. I was only determined to fight until I died for our independence, for our flag, for our Christian religion, and for you, my king. England and Ethiopia have a common link in St. George. He is their patron saint as well as ours. 5 years ago, as the black shirts marched into Addis Ababa, the priests of the Coptic cathedral smuggled out of the town the Ark of the Covenant of St. George. It is a famous ark throughout Ethiopia. It is the ark of the national consciousness and of self-defense against aggression. It was with Menelik when he defeated the Italians at Adwa in 1896. It was with Ras Ababa Aragai throughout the Italian occupation. On a cold morning in Addis Ababa, it came back to the cathedral with the emperor and was put once more with hymns and sacred dance in the Holy of Holies. It was a cold morning, and it rained, but a right was restored on that day, and the chains were struck off the wrists of a whole people.
Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine of such piety? Reign, my God. False kings of the earth and set themselves and the rulers take counsel together. You don't say. Against the Lord God, the Rastafari, and against his anointed say. Serious thing on a damn. Come let us break their bands asunder.